You're not gonna get it then. You're not gonna get it. Someone taught this puppy to play games that whenever you go to her, she backs up instead of trying to grab her, huh? Yes, yes. She's probably mad because we put her in a kennel yesterday for a couple of hours to see how she did. She was not a happy camper.
She'll adjust if she's there long enough.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened though? We're going in the beginning of September, we're going to Europe and we're taking finally, I'm crossing my fingers because we've had to cancel it 2 or 3 times already. We're taking the cruise down the Rhone River. So let's go to Paris, the cruise starts in Lyon and then we go down to Monte Carlo. So we're going
Nice.
for 2 weeks. So I was trying to, she's never been away from us for that long, you know, like an overnight maybe, but that's it. And my girlfriend was over yesterday and she's got 3 daughters, one who has always lived with her, one who is now moving in with her. And I said to her, I have to find somebody to come and stay with the puppy. And she volunteered right then and there. She's the whole 2 weeks.
She'll come stay at your house.
She'll come stay at my house and play with my puppy. Her daughters can have the house to themselves. So we're also, I was delighted.
Brenda, do we have a quorum this morning of commission members?
Yes.
We do.
I see 3 of you on.
1, 2, 3.
Norris Hawkins is on 860-906-8800.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's there too.
Yeah.
So Norris, Linda, and Jerry are here.
I'm right here.
So we're waiting for John and or Shauna. Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. We need one to proceed. Am I in error on that?
Mhm. That's
My
what we-
apologies. Okay. Commissioners, did you receive the email that I received this morning that was just sent?
I did. You mean
Okay.
on the application?
Yeah, I received it this morning and I forwarded it
Yeah.
immediately. All right, thank you.
Understand.
Yeah. Linda, did you get it?
I'm looking right now.
Because it's the one for Lisa and she's an RCR, so
Oh, this
I'm
is the one that she's applying?
to upgrade. So her log is part of that whole package. So I'm assuming Jerry will have you or Shauna pick the sample since it's a residential.
Okay.
You assume correctly.
So Commissioner, John Galvin has joined us. We do have a quorum now.
Okay, good morning, John.
Hey, John.
Morning. I'm having issues with my computer, so it's periodically bouncing me out and restarting. So if that happens, I'll log right back in.
We got it. Very good. Okay, we'll commence the July 13th, 2022 Connecticut Real Estate Appraisal Commission meeting. It's 8:32 Eastern. Thank you for all joining. Thank you, Veranda, for forwarding your all the paperwork that has been forwarded this month with drafts of meetings, notes, and so on and so forth. So we thank you. To make it easier for Veranda, when we make motions, commission members, we're just going to have to say, for example, this is Jerry making the motion, or this is Norris making the second. It will take time for her to recognize our voices and so forth, just to help her with the minutes. That will help move things along for everyone, so we can be a little bit more accurate and make her job a little easier.
Thank you.
If we can just keep that in mind. So that being said, let's take a look. Any edits needed for the June 8th, 2022 regular meeting? Hearing none, can I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, that's Linda Sepso.
Yeah.
Linda, you'll have to say, this is Linda making the motion. Okay. I know we gotta get used to it here. Can I
Yeah.
get a second, please?
Hi,
Second.
Miranda, this is Norris making a second.
All right, Norris is making a second. Thank you. Any comments or edits? Hearing none. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, etc. Okay, that the one moves forward. Thank you. Then, if we take a look here, we had a special meeting on June 28th, specifically for working on the Connecticut law module. Can I get a motion for approval of the June 28th, 2022 special meeting?
Linda Sepso, I'll make a motion.
Thank you. A second?
John Galvin, second.
John, great. Thank you. Any edits, comments, suggestions? Hearing none, call the vote. Ayes,
Aye.
nays? Sessions, okay. The only one I heard was John, but I assume everyone else approves. Okay,
Aye. I'm sorry.
and now
Aye.
we move over to the special meeting on July the 8th of 2022, again, for the specific reasons for the Connecticut law module edits and, updates that we are in the process of doing. Can I receive a motion for the acceptance of July 8th of 2022?
I thought that was canceled. I got 3 notifications that it was canceled.
No, we had it.
Now, actually, Commissioner Linda, I did respond to you to tell you that it was still on. I'm not sure what's happening with your email, but there were no cancellation notices from our end.
I
Okay,
make a motion to,
the week before it, I got 3, so I assumed it wasn't there and didn't even bother to look. Okay,
I have a motion by John. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. Linda,
That's Linda, second. Okay, ayes,
aye.
nays, abstentions. So we've approved all the minutes. Thank you, folks. Speaking of special meetings, I never know where a good place is to have that. We need at least one more meeting. And Miranda had given out some suggested dates, and I believe is August. And I know we don't have a regular meeting in August unless special circumstances. I don't see the special circumstances. Brenda, there was and help me, was that like August 2nd or
Let me
August
just-
3rd?
Yeah, let me just check really quick for you, Commissioner, if I may. Just want to make sure I give you the correct date. August 3rd at, oh, I'm sorry, my apologies. Let me see where I put that. Friday, August 5th, because Attorney Bullock mentioned that she and Linda are more available, and Linda certainly can speak for herself today, that Fridays is a better date. So Friday, August 5th, and you all can agree to a time.
To John, Linda, Norris, and Shauna, if Shauna's on, will 8:30 work for you on Friday the 5th?
Yes.
the 7th, right? Right.
5th, Friday the 5th.
Friday the 5th works for me.
Oh, yeah.
8:30 is always tough for an old guy like me, but I'll make it.
We can make it at 8, John.
We do 7:30.
Oh, no. I'm a 10 o'clock guy.
Linda, does that work for you, the schedule?
Yes, August 5th at 8:30.
Yes. And, I'm thinking if we've been trying to do an hour, we're only about at the 60% through, for ballpark numbers when I look at things going through this. Is it possible we can go maybe like from 8:30 to 10 and maybe take care of it all in one swoop? Will that work with schedules? Linda, Vicky, Linda?
Yeah,
John,
it'll work.
Doris?
It'll work for me. And so, and if Vicky had said the 5th will work for her, that's fine. We can do to 10. That's not a problem with us. If I could just make a suggestion that you guys just review what we have, what you guys haven't looked at yet, and just, know what ones you individually think needs to be changed or what needs to be added. So we can, move through it quickly and hopefully get rid of a lot of it and knock it out. So we can work on putting it all together.
Yep, that we really, I know there becomes now a time crunch.
I'm gonna be honest, I do like the way we're doing this because, when you're reading it by yourself, you're thinking one way, but when I start hearing comments from Linda and comments from Jerry and the other Linda, et cetera, it triggers stuff and it just, I think I like it.
Right, but if you, just make sure you're familiar at least, and if there's something that really stands out when you look at it ahead of time, that would be great.
We're still gonna go, yeah, I know what you're saying, Linda. We're still gonna go slide by slide.
Right.
John, so where we're going. We're gonna try to be efficient where we can be efficient to get through here. So, okay. So if we could then set that up, if that works for everybody. Norris, I didn't hear from you. Does that work for your schedule?
That's great.
All
That's
right.
great.
So let's put it in ink on 8:30 to 10 on the 5th of August for the special meeting of the Appraisal Commission. We do not have a regular August meeting, and the meeting will only be specifically for the issues of the law module here. I'm going to make one minor adjustment to that off the special meeting. Because we don't meet in August, in the event there is and I don't want to use the word emergency, but an urgent event by staff that needs something to be done, we will also carve out a point to make sure that is addressed. Okay, so that notice is now being given. We're following Robert Rules of Order as well as the laws of state of Connecticut and so forth for public hearings. So we don't typically have a regular meeting, but in the event, again, if there's an exceptional issue that needs to be addressed, we will also take it up at that time. Okay?
Yeah.
Very good. That being said, let's move forward here in our agenda. And I'm like a bouncing ball. I want to take care of the schools first, and there's a reason. And as you can see from AAL 952, it goes all the way through to then APR 266, and that is what the AQB approvals have been granted. Okay, then if we take a look at course approval by the commission, if we take a look from 951 through 961, we have, those other entries as well. But if you take a look at AAL 951 2022 Keynote Vegas Altera Group LLC 7-hour CE, can someone at least inform me what this is, who this is, what it covers?
Jerry, this is a conference that's gone on for several years. I can't remember the woman's name, but I've met her, and Altera Group is the name of her company.
Is it Joan? Is it Joan Trice?
Joan, yes.
Yeah.
So these have been going on for a while.
Yeah, but what do they cover? Is it being, are they approved school?
They are an approved school.
Okay, fair enough. I couldn't remember. Okay.
Yeah, they are an approved school, and they have different keynote speakers. If you hold on 1 minute, I can pull it up.
Yeah, that's what I was just doing here.
They have the person from Scott Reuter from Freddie Mac as their keynote speaker and
All right.
instructor.
Fair
And
enough.
he's going through all the Freddie Mac guidelines, the differences with let me get it back. The floor plans and the measuring of ANSI and that requirement and everything.
Good. Okay, great. And does anybody have any other questions? And thank you, Linda. Thank
Yeah.
you for on the schools and courses for approvals. Any edits or questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept the schools and courses from AAL 952 all the way through to AAL 961 as presented on our agenda?
I just have one question. Linda, I don't know, did you look at the square foot method of calculating single family residence? Did you look at that to see I'm just concerned because we are now being told that everything has to be ANSI.
Yeah, and it is ANSI.
So is ANSI, but the
Yeah.
other one is just square footage. It is ANSI that's being used?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they discuss it.
okay. I'm okay with that. I approve.
All the ones from the different schools we've gotten in so far about ANSI are all pretty much the same.
Okay, okay.
Okay, good question. Any other questions? Can I get a motion from the commission to accept these courses / seminars and so forth?
I'll make a motion
Hi,
to.
this is Norris. I'll make a motion.
Okay, Norris has got the emotion. Linda, do you want to make the
I'll
second?
second it. Yep, Linda.
Okay,
second.
Linda Sepso has made the second. Questions, edits, concerns, comments? Hearing none, I call this to the vote. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions. So therefore, we are good. Okay, on schools. All right. Very good here. Anything to report on the investigation division or where we stand?
I've been working on the audit, so I haven't really done much, but there was 3, they're starting to come in again from Fannie Mae with, complaints because they're not compliant because, they're not within a mile in 6 months and, they're silly requirements. So we did get 3 new complaints come in from, I think it was 2 or 3 from Fannie Mae. And the
Okay,
rest, they're still in process. Like I said, I've been dealing with the audit, so I haven't really had time to do a lot.
You know,
Maybe they should make the Fannie Mae people who do this judgment of what's right or wrong go out and do a couple of appraisals for a year.
Well, they're down in Texas, so.
Oh,
this is John. I got a question. When somebody, an individual organization such as Fannie Mae, when they set a guideline for their, as part of their scope of work,
Mhm.
okay, and it's specific to their business decisions, do we really have to get involved with making decisions on that in terms of the appraisal process? Because now we're monitoring their business decision as opposed to the appraisal
Well,
process.
guidelines from the Fannie Mae, FHA, et cetera, it'd be the same as an FHA or a VA, is part of USPAP requirements to, so basically, if they address, these sales were considered the best available, there were none within 6 months, et cetera, then they've covered it. So, but,
Well, no,
they
that's
said,
not what I'm saying. Jerry, you understand what I'm saying?
no, I understand, John. With theirs, their envelope, Fannie, Freddie, HUD, and so forth into that. And when they do the investigation, they will look at that and the investigator, Linda, or whomever that Linda may authorize to do so, or the commission authorizes, we have to take a look. Are there any violations to the uniform standards? Okay, into that. That's where that line. If it becomes too much, it's their rule. Is that rule in compliance of uniform standards? That's how I've looked at it in the past.
right.
Okay, it's
And if
but
they
your
come
point,
in writing, then we have to enter it as a complaint and open a case. That's how
Yeah.
the state works, so.
but wouldn't, Linda, on those, so they don't meet the guidelines of how many miles away or whatever. If there's no explanation, but normally what you have to do when that doesn't work,
Right.
is you have to explain, all
Yeah,
houses go.
and chances are I haven't really looked at them, most of the time, there is an explanation. And so, usually it doesn't go very far.
Right, if there isn't, then something should be done, but as long as.
Then, a letter of caution or something is usually issued that to avoid these coming, further complaints against you, make sure you explain everything.
Okay, and let me just add a side note to this. It's been 30 years since we've probably seen where we are in the economy and within the appraisal business of where things are at. And appraisers are going to have to dust off their textbooks and know now how to do cash equivalency adjustments. And many haven't even thought of doing those. And
Many of them don't even know what it is.
yes, and you watch dollars to donuts come around December, November, December. If we keep going, if Powell, which they anticipate raising it another 75 basis point at the next meeting, watch what interest rates are going to go up. If folks can assume a mortgage and they're at 2.8%, 3%, and so forth, and now you're looking at 5.5, maybe even 6%, there's going to be a positive VIG in there. You watch it, that they'll be coming up for complaints made on appraisers not knowing, the procedures and so forth, and which is a use violation because you're supposed to keep current on correct teachings, methodology, and so forth. We'll see if my crystal ball is a little clear here on that, but I
Yeah.
anticipate that occurring and had a speech with my team on this exact subject matter yesterday. And as some said, oh, the last time I did that was, and 20 years worth of experience they were talking was when I took the comprehensive. Well, pull out the textbook, blow off the dust, and you may want to start looking at it because we're entering into that phase again. So
Yeah, and I anticipate complaints increasing because now someone will maybe try to sell their house. They decide they want to move back to New York or wherever they came from. They want to move out back to the city or something, and they're not going to get what they paid for their house.
Yep.
So they're going to turn around and blame the appraiser who appraised their house.
It's
Right
gonna
now,
be
we're getting the fact that it's not coming in high enough. 6 months from now, it came in too high.
We're already seeing this now with a lot of people who did not purchase but rented from New York City, rented in Lower Fairfield County, stopped paying rent. So now the owners of the home who were renting the house are now in foreclosure.
Yeah.
We're getting busy on the foreclosure side.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be for another year, but it's already getting busy.
okay, great. DCP Legal Division, anything to report?
Vicky didn't leave me anything, so I would say no.
All right. Our friendly folks at the ASC.
Everything's good as far as I know. I haven't heard anything from them,
A
so.
sidelight, I had a discussion with Jenny Tidwell since our last meeting on an item on does a feasibility study have to be performed by certified and or licensed real estate appraisers. And in our state, if you get into a feasibility study and we'll say, hey, the market rent is $2,500 to $3,000 a month. I'm going to use that for an example. By our definition, by law, it is, therefore, that is giving a value. You need to be licensed. We all know that in Connecticut. The US of A, she says that is just a FYI, a vast majority. There may be 2 or 3 states that have a carve out for that. But to her knowledge, I just want to say that's a consistent view, coast to coast, border to border. Okay. So that was Jenny and our conversation that I said I would follow up with everyone on the commission from our last meeting when I, just mentioned, I had a question here, a technical question. I wanted to make sure we were all on the same board. So we were right. We confirmed it, and just preparing where I think things are going to be heading, coming at us. So, okay.
Okay, there was one other thing, I just came to mind that I got yesterday from Jim Parks, a memo about USPAP going forward, and Congressman Waters wants a timeline for PAVE when everything will be implemented. And so there is some issues with when people will need to take USPAP because they need to revise it because it's the part they put in about fair housing does not meet her standards. So it needs to be revised again. It won't affect us, I don't think, too much, because we've already gone through our CE audit as far as, and we don't have a requirement that everyone must take USPAP in the first 3 months when it comes out, where some states do. So, but I will forward that memo to all of you if you didn't get it.
Okay,
And Scott's on our call. He probably knows more than I do about it.
Scott, welcome. Is there anything you would like to add to this?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not really. I'm aware, that the ASC is advising states. They've even asked us as a provider to no longer offer the current version of the USPAP update course for the reasons that Linda mentioned. However, there are states, Connecticut not included, that are in renewal periods now or have rolling renewal periods, meaning that your license renews 2 years after the date that it was originally issued. So there are states that are renewing licenses on a daily basis, and they have to verify that the applicant or the licensee has had USPAP within the 2 previous years, 24 calendar months. And if somebody doesn't have that, let's say today, and their license renews tomorrow, then the only choice that they have is to take the 7-hour USPAP update course that is currently on the market, which includes the material that the ASC is concerned about. So from our perspective, we're continuing to offer online and in-person USPAP, as it currently is. The ASB, from what I understand, is in the process of revising the 7-hour USPAP update course, the current version of it, and there's no timeline. All they will say is that it will be ready soon, but they have a new layer of legal review that they have to go through to ensure compliance with laws and such. So that could be a long way off, but quite honestly, the ASC, their comments on this is just another sort of element of the back and forth that's been going on between the foundation and the ASC over the last couple of years. Yeah. This is just another manifestation of that. But from our perspective, we're continuing as a provider to offer the 7-hour USPAP course. People are taking it. The ASC, I think, is trying to strong arm people more or less into, states saying, no, the current course is no longer approved, or licensees don't have to take it because of their concerns with the content. But again, from a provider's perspective, we're moving forward as the status quo.
Let me present a not so hypothetical, but a real life situation. And let's just say, I'll use myself as an example. If Jerry Rasmussen takes the USPAP class on tomorrow, the 14th of July, and this is in his new current cycle, his or her, but in my example, me, if I were to do that, from, I'll say, the Connecticut chapter, and it's for the cycle beginning May 1 of 2022 to what? April 30th of 2024, our cycle that we have to put forth here. Would I, if I took it there, then be dinged 6 months from now, 8 months from now, 12 months, and said, sorry, Charlie, you got to go take it again? And this could be for any appraiser. That's why I'm just using me as an example.
I don't believe so. When you're renewing your license, the agency just needs to verify that you have had a USPAP update course in the previous 24 calendar months. And generally, you take the one that's available at the time that you need or want to take it, and that will satisfy the requirement. Now, with that said, there are, and I don't know if this would be applicable in Connecticut or not, but there are a lot of people that are not taking the current version of the USPAP update course because they don't have a need to. So they then would take perhaps the next version of the USPAP update course that the ASB is working on and have skipped that one in the interim, the current version of the course. If you follow me on that. Let's say if your license doesn't renew until 2023, And they come out with a new USPAP update course in December of 2022. You then take that course in January to satisfy your renewal requirement, having missed the course that is available right now. But the update that they're doing is to the current course. It's not an entirely new course,
Okay,
as I understand.
all right, fair enough. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Scott, by the way. Thank you for,
My pleasure. Thank you.
your input here. Other members of the commission, any questions on this topic? Any questions from the general public who are joining us this fine morning?
Jerry, it's Linda. Just when do you expect this update to be published? I missed that.
There's no time frame.
There's no time frame. Oh.
They're working on it, Linda. Yeah, they were not, gosh
That's
knows.
why I missed it. Okay.
Yeah, that's, you didn't miss anything. We're all trying to figure this out. So it's one of those things that come September, we may have a degree of clarity when
Yeah.
we have our next meeting of where things are at. Okay, thank you. I was not aware of this, so I learned something this fine morning. All right then, are there any other issues that, or anything we should be aware of with the ASC?
I don't have anything else.
Okay, well, good. All right, we covered a few things. We're getting into the old business side of the fence here. Our 2022 continuing education audit.
Okay, we've gone through every appraiser that submitted, that renewed their license. We've looked at all of them. We had an intern, Asher, who works 3 days a week. She's a legal intern. She's been very good at helping us go through everything. Let's see. I did reach out to many appraisers. I did send them an email asking them to send me their CE certificates, because there was going through, if you got to the stage when you renewed online and it said, upload your CE, you shouldn't have been allowed to go any further without uploading it. And there were several people where it was blank, and we don't know if they didn't save it correctly or there was a glitch in our system. So I don't, I'm not going to penalize somebody if there was a glitch in our system. And the same with those that actually mailed them in. Not everything got uploaded with the amount of new people we have scanning things in. So I'm slowly getting all them back right now based on what's outstanding. There is about 90 people through all licenses that will receive an audit letter. So it's about 7%. And I would say many of them will, I'm thinking many of them will be in compliance. Because a lot of them, you can tell by their name, I can't imagine that they didn't do their CE. But then again, we've been wrong before.
Yeah.
So they should go out next week, the audit letters.
Okay. Linda, you just brought something up that just raised a red flag with me. I guess I was wrong. It was my understanding that everyone had to do electronically and upload things here.
It said you did, but there are people who still went ahead and mailed it in. It said to please do it electronically. A lot of the people who mailed it in, they were either some of the old time appraisers or people like the DOT, the assessors that needed the town to actually physically cut a check and couldn't do it online.
Okay,
So those people mailed it in.
okay. So that is probably going to continue, especially on the government type agencies,
Exactly.
the next cycle and the
Yeah.
cycle after that, because the rules. Okay, I just wanted to get a clarification. Okay.
Yeah.
From members of the commission, any questions for Linda concerning the continuing education audit? Hearing none. Members from the public, any questions that you would like to ask concerning the continuing education audit? Hearing none, then we will, thank you. Thank you, Linda, for giving us the update and where we stand on that. Number 2 on there is para, EAREA, here we go. So that's our old business. So Linda, please give a quick overview and then we got to get into this, okay?
Okay, so Vicki and I met with John on para. We went over a few things. A couple of the things that, we discussed is the commission needs to make a decision, one, if we're going to do it, which, most states are doing it. The other thing is, how much are we going to allow? I mean, are you going to want, so for a commercial appraiser, they need the 3,000 hours of experience, 1,500 in non-residential working. How much of that do you want them to physically do actual appraisals? Do you want 50%? You want 25%? That's what you guys have to decide. That's the biggest thing you have to decide.
Okay. I open this up to members of the commission. I see that Shauna has joined us, or Shauna, you may have been on for a few minutes here. Welcome. And you may want to go on to unmute and feel free to jump in when on any comments. So it's all open to members of the commission. The floor is yours for questions. Or John, do you want to start? Do you want to start it, John, because you were part of reviewing this?
Well, it's still evolving in a lot of ways. We're still seeing how the pilot programs are gonna work out. But I think the issue here is we need to be proactive, because as these programs roll out, now I'd like to hear also if Scott or Jackie might know how long before we actually start seeing candidates pop up from this at our level, because it still may be a year out or a year and a half out before that actually happens. But we are going to have to be, I think we're going to have to make a decision on something so that those who are applying for these programs, because they're probably going to have to pay for them, know what they're getting, or what they can get from, it can weigh it in terms of a feasibility for them. In terms, either, do I go to work for an appraiser, or, do I take this program and make myself more marketable? I am all for the para program. I think I like the concept of it. I just, we just don't know exactly how each one is going to unfold with each school at this point. So I hear what Linda's saying about making a decision on, what are we going to accept? I just don't know if we're too premature in making those decisions.
Well, we need to make you need to make a decision, because we need to revise our statutes and regs, and that takes time. So right now, if somebody had the para program, they went through the whole program, they wouldn't be able to get a license in Connecticut, because it's not permitted based on our statutes and regs. So to permit it, we have to alter them. So we need to do it once and not, go back and have to amend it 100 times. Would be the easiest way to do it. So
I will say that one of the positive things that came out of the meeting we had with us was that we do not have to go for any kind of change in statute. It's strictly a regulation change, which gives us the flexibility. So I'm wondering if the most prudent thing to do right now is to, I know we don't want to go back and keep changing regulations, but I think if we add a regulation that gives us some flexibility, and then we can fine tune that regulation as, the years go on. But I hear what Linda's right. We have to come up with something to add into the regulations to resolve.
right, so you need like at least a basis of, we will accept para provided the school is, or the program has been approved by the foundation, and that they do an additional X amount of actual appraisals under a supervision of a certified appraiser.
Let me ask one question, a point is, how would the general public be harmed if we accept the para presentation that's being put forth out there right now? How would John Q, homeowner on 123 Elm Street, New Britain, how would that impact him or her?
Right. So my opinion on that, this is John, my opinion on that is, once we accept all their experience credits and their courses, they can go sit for this exam. So what we're doing is we're giving somebody, saying, hey, you can go out there and you can do these appraisals. Yet the only experience they have is kind of in a vacuum, in a way, at least until we start seeing how these programs evolve. It's the kind of same thing when we're, Jerry, you probably remember this. The Society for Real Estate Appraisers used to have a course. It was called 102, I think it was, on the residential side, where you sat in a class for, I think it was 2 weeks, or was it a week, and you went through every single thing, and then at the final exam was actually appraising the property. And I remember coming out of that class, and I'm going to share this quick story because I think it's pertinent to this, is when we were outside, everybody's value that they were coming up with was, within $5,000 and $7,000, which was within 10%. But the point was that everybody was like, oh, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. And it was basically because none of us had really had much experience. And it was the people who had experience that were saying, no, this, and this. So in light of that, what I'm thinking is, I think they still need to have some experience, and I think we need to have them have some experience appraising properties in Connecticut too. If a student from, I'm just going to pick on the University of Illinois, is taking a career program through either that school or through the Appraisal Institute while they're in college and working summer internships in New York or Chicago or something like that, and then comes to us before they graduate college with this, I don't think it's prudent that we actually give them, say, okay, you're ready, because they're not. I think that makes that student much more marketable in the appraisal community. But I think they still need to have some sort of Connecticut experience just to meet the competency provision of use path at the minimum. And then the other issue here is whoever is teaching these para programs, they may not be licensed in Connecticut. So we got no control over that portion of it too. Whereas right now, as much as we've had some concerns over supervisors, they are all Connecticut appraisers who are out there in the market, proving themselves in our local market. Our market is, the appraisal theory is appraisal theory, but our market here is kind of unique. And if you have somebody doing a para program, and then the other thing too is, we're thinking about these para programs, all of a sudden they might start getting fine tuned as time goes on. All of a sudden you might have one specifically focusing on just appraising, let's just say healthcare facilities, Jerry, or apartments or something like that. So the student comes out and they have all this experience in one direction, but not, in other directions. And so we end up with this situation where we're giving them certification to go out and do appraisals in the public, and they really don't have the experience on a lot of variety of property types. So that's my concern. So it really is difficult because we need to figure out what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept. And maybe Scott can jump in here too, because I don't know what's going on in the rest of the country. What some of the other commissions are, how they're looking at this and what they're accepting in terms of a percentage of the hours.
Scott, we'll come to you in just a moment, okay? John, and I'm not letting that go. I want to make sure, I want to hear from Linda, Shauna, and Norris, their comments, and then we'll open it up. And Scott will be the first of the public, okay? So Linda, Shauna, Norris, any comments, thoughts, or you want to pass at this moment?
All right, well, I guess I could go. Hi, everybody. It's been a while, but I do think I agree with John. We have to have some real life experience. There's nothing like getting out into the field, and you never know what you're going to face. So I think there's got to be some kind of amount of hours, 500, 200, I don't know, something, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. Linda or Norris?
Gary, they definitely have. I mean, I've taught close to 24 people to become appraisers, and nobody's ever been charged with anything. And some of them have gone off and started their own companies, but they know what they're doing because we walk them through all of the steps they need to look at. We made sure that they knew how to identify things, and whatever the thing is of the moment. Remember, it used to be lead paint, and then it was black mold, and all these other things that they need to be able to look at, and maybe they may not know what it is at all, but they at least have some experience because someone else does know what it is and can lead them to be cautious, suggest this, that kind of thing. I don't think just giving you the classes and stuff and then having you go out and find things to appraise, I don't, that mentorship of having someone who is an appraiser work with you is absolutely critical. Now, granted, some of them aren't the best teachers in the world, and it helps if you have a teaching ability, but I can't imagine that we'd have the quality of appraisers coming out if we didn't have something that's a guided mentorship, not go forth and find something to appraise, which is what the original thing that they came out, maybe they've changed it, but the original thing they came out with was a go forth and appraise, and you find something to appraise, and that's it, because you've gotten all the classes. That's not it. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't think the program is good. I'm saying that the program needs a little bit of the old-fashioned methods to make sure that these kids have been educated and can see everything.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Norris?
Jerry, I'm good.
He's on.
Okay,
I'm
you're
right here,
good.
Jerry. I'm good.
Okay, fair enough.
Jerry, can I jump in one more comment before?
Certainly, before I open up to the public, and
So
Scott first.
Linda's talking about is correct in that we don't know how these programs are going to evolve, meaning some of them, they may be requiring the students to actually go out and find properties to appraise. That's true. But the whole concept is that they're going to be guided by someone who has some experience. That's the concept. And of course, everything always, the convoy goes as fast as the slowest ship. You can tell I'm a Navy guy, but we don't know how that is. So I'm thinking too, that if we have something in there that says that they have to have a minimum of I don't know, whatever we come up with, certain hours to appraise in Connecticut, what that does is that gives us the flexibility to actually have them in front of our commission to say, you know what, you don't have enough experience yet. So it gives us a kind of a check on that para program. Because we might have some students coming out of programs that are just fantastic, and they're just ready to go, and they really run them through the grind, and they're coming out ready to hit the streets. And of course we may have others where and then of course there's the individualism that's part of that too. Some students are serial learners, and some are parallel learners, etc. And so some students may actually need some more hands-on experience in order to get the light bulbs to go off, where others, it may be clicking like, you know what I mean? So I think if we have something in there, even if we say 25% or something like that, instead of saying hours, maybe we can say a percentage or something, which gives us some flexibility, some control over being able to grab that student into our web per se, and kind of shake them out and say, hey, do they really have it or not? And where are they going? Where are they going? And then the other thing too is that also allows us to have that student actually register as underneath a supervisor in Connecticut, because if they do want to get a Connecticut certification, it allows them to go work for someone for a while here in Connecticut to get to meet some of those company provisions and stuff like that, which they're only going to get, hands-on doing on the ground.
Okay, very good. Thank you. What I would like to do at this point is I'm going to open it up for comments, and we'll start with Scott from the general public. I would like to hear any thoughts, comments from anyone who's on here. And then once we have done that, then we're going to roll back to the commission to see where commission members, where we want to go here, with this. So on the public side, Scott, you have the first swing of the bat, so to speak. Okay.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. There are 32 states that have, to one degree or another, indicated that they will accept completion of an AQB approved PREA program to satisfy the experience requirements for the licensed residential and certified residential credentials, keeping in mind that this is all residential. There is nothing commercial involved in PREA whatsoever. And only 2 of those states, California and Kansas, have indicated that they will accept PREA for something other than 100% of the experience credit for those 2 credentials. California originally said 50%, as did Kansas. I know that California now is in the process of reconsidering that decision and likely will be fully accepting. PREA will be fully acceptable in California to satisfy the experience requirements. And here's the issue, is that if you don't approve PREA for 100% of the experience credit, you haven't really solved the problem that PREA was intended to solve, which is that there is a lack of supervisors in the marketplace right now that are willing to take on trainees. And if you say that someone going through a PREA program and completing a PREA program is only going to get, let's say, 75% of the 1,000 or 1,500 hours that are required, now they're still required then to go out and find a supervisor under whom to work for a period of time. If somebody is going to do that, then why would they go through a PREA program? They might as well just go out and find a supervisor right at the outset and get all of their experience hours in the traditional way. So, anything less than 100% experience, is really not going to solve the problem and is going to make PREA, somewhat unattractive to aspiring appraisers in Connecticut. I also wanted to address the geographic competency issue. And I want you to think about it this way, which is that if someone is a trainee and they are working for a supervisor in, let's say, Putnam, and they are appraising single-family residences in Putnam, a very rural community, and that's where they get all of their experience. I realize in that neighborhood, it's probably going to take a long time to get 1,000 hours, but it is possible. And they get their license in Connecticut. They are now authorized to appraise in any part of the state. And as you all know, there are many, many different markets in Connecticut. And if that person that got all of their experience in Putnam now is thrown into a neighborhood in Danbury, that's a very, very different market. And they're going to have to make themselves competent to appraise in that market before they can do so. Similarly, the PREA program is intended to make someone minimally qualified to appraise residential real property. It also teaches them how to determine whether they are competent to appraise a certain property, and also how to obtain that competency or to gracefully withdraw from the assignment. So the geographic competency issue is, and the other issue is, let's say you have somebody coming in on a reciprocal license. They've got all of their experience in another state. And now you're offering them a reciprocal license in Connecticut, and they are authorized to appraise in any part of the state. But of course, they do need to satisfy those competency requirements. So, those really are the 2 issues in terms of the 100% acceptance and the geographic competency. It really does. It is intended to be an all or nothing proposition, meaning you get all of your experience credit through PREA, or you don't get any of it and you go via the traditional supervisor trainee map. I can tell you that, at least in the PREA program that my organization, the Appraisal Institute, has under development, participants are going to be exposed to a number of different types of properties: condos, co-ops, single family residences, agricultural properties, so on and so forth, as well as a multitude of different types of assignments with varying different types of assignment conditions and extraordinary assumptions and so on and so forth. So in some some respects, I think you're going to end up with a more qualified appraiser than you currently do through the traditional supervisor trainee method. Because again, if you're working under a supervisor who specializes in, single family mortgage lending work in a very condensed homogeneous community, then that's all that you're really going to know how to appraise. If you get something else that's thrown in front of you, you're going to have to make yourself competent to perform that assignment. In terms of the supervisor requirements, they're called mentors within the PREA program. I can tell you that at least in our program, the mentors are going to be required to be designated members of the Appraisal Institute in order to be able to take on people that are participating in our PREA program. They're also going to have to go through a mentor orientation course, very similar to the supervisor trainee course that is required for folks that are going through that method. And obviously there's going to be, some ongoing monitoring of the mentors to make sure that they're doing their work appropriately. They are going to be compensated by the Appraisal Institute for taking on those PREA participants. So we're hoping that there will be a higher level and a closer amount of contact between the mentor and the participant. And of course, like I said, there's going to be ongoing monitoring and review of the work of the mentors. In terms of work product review, I know that is something that you hold very near and dear to the Commission's heart, and you all do a very good job of it. There's nothing to say that you can't require that somebody that has gone through a PREA program to produce sample work product. The AQB requires that a minimum of 3 full, complete USPAP compliant appraisal reports be produced as part of the PREA program. And I can tell you that in our program, someone is going to complete 36 partial or full appraisal reports as they go through the program. And when I say partial, they may be in the module on the sales comparison approach, so that they're going to complete that portion of the appraisal and not necessarily do a full report on whatever type of property it is that they're going through at that time. But the last 3 are full USPAP compliant reports. They're reviewed internally by us for USPAP compliance before we issue a certificate of completion. And there's nothing to say that a state can't request that someone submit those 3 reports for review as well. And there are many states that are doing that. And quite frankly, I encourage it. They're going to be reviewed by us internally for USPAP compliance. But if you want to take your own look at those reports, I don't see any reason why you couldn't have the exact same process that you have now for experience review, even with somebody that has gone through a PREA program. So in terms of the timeline, we are committed to having a product on the street by September of 2023. That was a condition of the grant that we received or are receiving from the Appraisal Foundation, $500,000 grant to help with the development costs of our program, which right now are looking to be $2.5 to $3 million. So we were very grateful for the foundation's grant there, but it did come with some strings, which are one of which is that we have to have a program on the street and available by September of 2023. Now, I can tell you, while I'm not able to put a specific date on it, we are way ahead of schedule and will likely have something available much sooner than September of 2023. If I were gauging, I would probably say early next year. Early 2023 is probably when we'll be ready to go to market with a product, having gone through the AQB approval process. And that's another issue that I wanted to touch on too, which is, it is, I understand, a leap of faith to put, all of your faith in the Appraiser Qualifications Board, that they're only going to approve high quality PREA programs. But that is the intent, and that's how the process is intended to work, that providers submit their programs to the Appraiser Qualifications Board for approval. And in those states that have indicated that they will accept PREA, those programs now are AQB approved and can be utilized in those states. What we're trying as hard as we can to avoid, and so far have been successful in doing so, is that we really don't want to have individual states looking at individual programs. That really adds an additional layer of regulatory approval that comes with a lot of paperwork and some additional costs as well. So we're asking states to really put your faith in the AQB, and as long as a PREA program is approved by the AQB, then it would be acceptable in your state. So just in conclusion, I really would encourage you all to take a long, hard look at allowing for PREA to satisfy all of the experience requirements, because I don't think it's going to be viable in Connecticut if someone is getting something other than 100% of the experience credit. I don't think that they're going to lay out the $5,000 to $10,000 that it's likely to cost if they're only going to get a percentage of their experience and still need to go out and find a supervisor. So I would, just ask you to take a long, hard look at that. Other states, have had similar questions, but ultimately have decided to accept PREA at 100%. And I would encourage you all to do the same. And if there's anything else that any questions that come up or anything that I haven't covered, I'm more than happy to try to answer. But that really is where we are with PREA, and I'm happy to share with and I can send it to your administrator, Linda, a copy of a document that we put together that has all of the various state laws and regulations related to PREA. There's probably 10 or 11 of them right now that have regulations either in final form or in draft form, or in a couple of instances, legislation, statutory changes that needed to be made. And, if you want to use those as a guideline when writing your regulations, that we would certainly, encourage that. And Linda is absolutely right. The process needs to begin now, only because the regulatory process does take some time. And we would really like to have day one regulatory certainty when our program is available, so that aspiring appraisers in Connecticut can access our PREA program as soon as it is available in the marketplace. And there's no delay between the time that it's available and the time that the regulations are in place to allow for it to be used. And again, that process does take some time. And I think it's probably better to start that process sooner rather than later. So appreciate the time, and am more than happy to try to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And before we bombard you with questions, which I'm sure we will, because here I was writing down questions, but later you would answer those while you were talking. I want to open up to make sure any other comments from the general public first before the commission, then we'll follow up with questions with you or anybody else's positions here. So I thank you. I open this up to other members of the general public who are joining us this morning. Any comments or thoughts that you would like to share, or for the commission members to take into consideration? Miranda, are there any hands up or anyone?
Well, excuse me, Commissioner Galvin has his hand up, so he needed to make a comment, but I know you've just opened it up for the public
Yeah,
to
I'm going to do the
respond
general
before you
public
go
first.
back to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no one from the public yet, but we'll just do one more call out.
Okay, I'll wait a moment or two in case there's any questions from the general public. Hearing none, or seeing none, or being none, we will now back now to the members of the commission. To any comments, questions to Scott or anybody else? The floor is open. Go ahead. John, I guess you had your hand up. Go ahead. Okay. Well, maybe John, he said he was having technical difficulties. He may be offline for a moment here. Linda, Shauna, Norris, any thoughts or comments?
Sorry about that. I was knocked out.
Yep, okay.
Uh, um, so I love these discussions. I think they're fantastic. And I think as far as, I think I agree with the fact that we shouldn't be reviewing the schools. If they're accepted by AQB, just as the courses are, that's fine. I mean, if there's an issue with something, we can always have a separate vote and pull that one out if there, but that would I think that would surface across the country. But I do want to make the comment that in talking to people about this program, I realize the purpose of Pyria. I think it's fantastic, but I will tell you that the issue with taking on somebody is the first year or two when they're getting that. It just costs you so much time and so much effort. If someone shows up with this, even though they don't have all their hours or they're not certified, everybody I talk to is going to be would seriously consider hiring that person, because that loss of cost is already passed. That time period is already passed. So I am not convinced yet that we have to accept just as 100%. I still thinking that maybe we give it something. But the other thing that I'm also thinking about, and again, I'm thinking out loud here, is that maybe if we put something in, I don't know if we can do this, but if we gave it 100%, so they get 100% credit for their hours and everything, and they just submit it, we accept it, now they go take their test, and they're out there appraising. Is there a way for us maybe to add something in the regulation that we have a right to review, say, the first, I'm just throwing this out as an example, the first 20 appraisals they do, they have to submit a log to us, and we get to pick samples just to make sure they're on track. And then, we could recommend education or something like that. I mean, that's another option to go, where we're accepting the program, but we're also having some controls over it. It isn't so much that I can totally understand. I mean, if you put yourself in the student's position, I'm a student and I got to go spend, this is not going to be a $500 course. This is going to be several thousands of dollars. And if I'm going to pay several thousands of dollars through the Appraisal Institute or McKissick or something like that, I want to be able to know that I'm going to, have something more marketable at the end of the line. So I understand about accepting the 100%. But when we heard before from the AQB people, when they came to us, they weren't actually, I didn't hear the emphasis on 100%. I heard the emphasis on, a substantial amount of the experience. And the other thing that goes through my head is, when a lawyer graduates law school, they often get a job right away and they still have to pass the bar. So that's the other thing I'm thinking is, if, what is our bar going to be? Do we need a bar? The bar supposedly for us is passing the test. And then they're out there. So lawyers just, get this experience and then take the test, and then we're letting them run wild in the market too. So, that's the thing. Do we actually have, I think we might be trying to control too much based on the fact that we keep seeing issues.
Okay. Linda, Shauna, Norris, thoughts? Questions, comments? Guess not.
No, Jerry, I mean, I'm not against this program. I think it's got a lot of good benefits. I also am wondering why anyone would apply for it, because it's going to be very expensive to become an appraiser. They've got to pay for, it's enough that they have to pay for the classes, but now they'll be paying for all the the college classes. And then they're going to have to be paying for whatever guidance is given to them when they're doing their, field work and doing appraisals. So we're essentially, after you take your courses, the person that you have that trains you. And I think the biggest fault in our own system is that it's really hard to get people to train appraisers, because they have this misguided opinion that once I train them, they'll leave me and start their own company and take all my clients. I've been doing this since 1984. every appraiser I've trained always helps me out if I need them. Most of them still work for me. It's given me the ability to build a very large and very good company that supported a lot of people. So I'm not saying that their new way is a better way or their new way is a way that I would not consider at all. I think that the training that you get after all the courses is the most important part that you have in the system. And just to let you know, Scott, Connecticut's not that big. I have been all over. I have done the northeast county of the town where there's hardly anything. You have to drive 3 hours to find a bathroom. And I've done downtown Greenwich. I've done everything in between. And every time I find an appraiser that I'm training who has to have experience in something different, or one of my own contractors who's been asked to do an appraisal on something that is a little different and they don't know, they just call me up. I go with them and walk them through it so that now they know what they're doing, which is the way I think an appraiser who wants to be an educator should be doing it. So I don't know. I think I'm going to have to see a lot more about it before I say, yeah, this is great. I just think personally, the courses are the courses. I think personally, the mentorship is the most successful part of creating an appraiser. So I don't know how to handle that with what you're offering yet, but maybe I'll spend a little more time looking at it and see how it comes out. I wasn't impressed with the video that we had.
Okay, Shauna and Norris, I want to make sure if you have nothing, you don't want to, or have nothing to ask or what have you, that's fine. I just want to make sure you weren't cut out from offering questions, opinions, or comments.
Jerry, I do have one question though. Am I still understanding that even if they go through this other program and get everything done, we still have to be able to approve them as appraisers in the state of Connecticut? It's not like if they take this course and all this stuff, we don't have any say in, yes, we've gone through your stuff and we think you're okay, or we've gone through your stuff and we think you might need a little help. I mean, I'm doing that now with a student he's actually really good. He just writes horribly. So we're working on that so that he can, understand what he needs to do.
Scott had just mentioned, and if Shauna and after Shauna and Norris have comments, what have you, I want to make sure they have the floor. Then we'll get to Scott, but Scott, I believe, answered that and said that,
Okay.
Some states that they come back to it. Again, Shauna and Norris, any thoughts?
I have no comments, Jerry. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Shauna, how about you? I guess Shauna may be offline or unavailable for a few minutes. I have a few questions here, if I could, and I thank Scott for that presentation here. You said that 30 of the 30 or 32 states have accepted this in one form or another, 30 being 100%, if I heard you correctly, and 2 being California and Kansas, either reconsidering it or taking it under advisement and so forth. Of those 30 states, are any surrounding Connecticut have accepted it, namely New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and I'll expand it a little bit further, Jersey, Pennsylvania. Have they addressed this yet in the region? Did we lose Scott?
I think so.
Okay,
He fell off and now he's listed as an attendee. He probably just needs to be promoted back in as a panelist.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties where people are being, kicked out and then they have to come back in and then
Oh,
be
there he is.
promoted. You should hear him now.
okay. Scott, I don't know if you heard my question being.
I caught the tail end of it. I apologize. My internet always finds the
It
most
happens.
opportune moment to go down on me, and then I have to tether to my phone. So I apologize for that.
No,
The answer to your question is that Massachusetts is considering it. Rhode Island is considering. New York is considering, and Maine. Just go through the New England states. Maine has indicated that their statutes do allow for it. New Hampshire is in the process of rulemaking, and Vermont fully incorporates the AQB criteria by reference. So it is automatically accepted in Vermont by way of it being part of the criteria. There's some other states, Pennsylvania, so on and so forth. But New York is in the process of considering it. And I just want you to, remember that, you could have somebody that gets licensed in another state via the use of PAREA and then comes into Connecticut via reciprocity. You would then give them a license to appraise in Connecticut, even though they've gotten all of their experience through the PAREA program. And to the Commissioner Galvin's point, I don't think there is anything that would prevent you from saying that somebody, and I'm not sure how you would do this in the regulations or whether it would require a statutory change, but I don't think there's anything that would prohibit you from saying, within the first 6 months, we reserve the right to ask you to submit a log, and we reserve the right to, request reports from you as samples, and you then could, go through them. I actually like that idea, to tell you the truth. I had some other ways that I was thinking about it, which is that, perhaps you could say you can't be an independent fee appraiser for the first 6 months. You have to work for somebody, either in a lender, in an appraisal company, or in an AMC. But once you have that license or certification, you can't hang out a shingle and appraise independently for, let's say, the first 6 months or a year. Again, that's just something I had thought about. I'm not sure exactly, mechanically how that would work, or whether it would even be legal. But that, and the example of the attorneys is a very good one. They go to 3 years of law school, pass the bar, and they're an attorney. They're probably not a very good one. And most of them are not going to be successful if they were to hang out a shingle on their own, and try to take on clients. So they go to work as an associate in a law firm. They clerk for a judge. They go the corporate route, or through the government, or however else they get their experience. And then ultimately, they make partner at a firm or go out on their own, or whatever. So I think that's a very good example of, how someone that goes through a PAREA program would become competent to appraise in Connecticut. They come out of the PAREA program, they're minimally qualified, they have all of their education. That's a very important point, which is prior to entering into a PAREA program, you have to have completed all of the required 150 or 200 hours of education, not just the 75 hours that is required to become a trainee and work under a supervisor. So if somebody goes into PAREA with all of their education, they go through PAREA, and then are authorized to sit for the exam, and they're a licensed or certified appraiser. And as Commissioner Galvin said, at that point, they're a pretty attractive prospect to somebody, because you can actually put them to work in revenue producing capacity. But again, that person probably is not going to be successful if they were to hang out a shingle and try to be an independent fee appraiser on day one.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. I have a couple more questions to envelope it. You had said the cost of this program, and I know you haven't rolled it out and you're hoping to do it in earlier 23, but I know later than 13, 14 months from now, under the agreement. What is the cost or the anticipated cost for the candidate, and how long is the program? How long does it take someone under this candidate under this program to get to fruition or complete the I'll call it the seminar, the process, the course, whatever it is?
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Both very, very good questions. I can't really put a specific number on how much it's going to cost. We are in the process right now of doing a pricing study to determine, what the market would accept, and where the resistance would be. But if I had to guess, I'm going to say probably the low 4 digits, maybe $4,000 or $5,000. And I know one way that we are thinking about it is from a long-term revenue producing perspective, which is, okay, get somebody into the organization, having taken our education, get them through our PAREA program, get them licensed or certified, and then put them on the path to designation, and get them designated, and then take their money for the rest of their lives. Rather than charging them a significant amount upfront, we're looking at it really from a more or less an annuity perspective, where somebody comes into our organization as part of the organization for a long period of time, and we make up the revenue on the back end. In terms of the amount of time that it is going to take, that's going to vary based upon the student. You know, if you have somebody that can dedicate 5 days a week to participating and working through their PAREA program, you know, that person may be able to go through it in a shorter period of time than somebody that can only do it on the weekends, let's say. But the best estimate that we have is that it probably is going to take as much or more time than it does to get the 1,000 or 1,500 hours of experience to become an LR or CR. This is not something that you're going to be able to bang out on a weekend, sitting out by the pool with your laptop. That is not going to happen whatsoever. And I'm guessing it's probably going to take the average participant in our PAREA program probably 12 to 18 months to be able to go through completely. And I apologize, I don't have, you know, more
No, that's all right.
specific answers to either of those questions, but hopefully it gives you a little bit of a ballpark. I'm going to say $5,000 and probably 12 to 15 months, the average person.
Let me follow up with that. Then you've obviously the Appraisal Institute and you're representing a school, and I understand that, and just one of a number, but you are the lead dog, so to speak, here, but given the, you know, the dollars that were, you know, extended to the Appraisal Institute to try to put something here together. I'm sure some feasibilities have been done. How many students are we really looking at? Do they anticipate coming into this program?
Right. I can tell you that the Appraisal Foundation has a list of about, last time I heard it was about 1,800 people that had expressed interest in going through a PAREA program to them. And these are folks that have had difficulty finding supervisors and have reached out to the foundation, and they then have introduced them to the PAREA program, and they said that they were interested. So, you know, I think right out of the box, there's probably going to be a significant number, not all of those 1,800, obviously, but maybe 1,000 right out of the box that will be interested in participating in PAREA. We're not going to be the only provider. I know of at least one other school that is in the process of putting together a PAREA program. And I am aware of 3 or 4 AMCs that are doing PAREA programs as well. However, those programs are going to be for their own internal development purposes and will not be made publicly available. So us and the other large education provider, really the only one that's left, are you know, both in the process of putting together PAREA programs. I don't again have a specific date for ours, but it's important to note that we don't necessarily want to be the first to the market. We want to be the best in the market. You know, we have a reputation to uphold here in terms of our education, and we're not going to put a product on the street just for the sake of you know, getting people into the program right at the outset. I think, you know, if there is another program, I think that could come to market before ours. You know, I think we'd be willing to wait a certain period of time to make sure that you know, our program is the gold standard, if you will.
Okay. I thank you. Are there any other questions for the general public or from the commission members to Scott or anything else? Because I'm going to give you my thoughts in a minute here. I've just asked questions. I haven't put thoughts there.
This is John again. So the way I kind of look at this is a shift in our industry. And in my opinion, it's a shift towards professionalism. The reality is, I think this PAREA is going to take off. And if you just heard what Scott just said, you know, if you're talking $5,000 a student, you got 1,000 students, that's $5 million. If you take the average course of in our state, we take 750 appraisers taking a course that only costs $75 or whatever, and you multiply that times 50, that only works out to be about, 1.8 million. And so I'm just saying that this is here, and I can see other universities jumping on it at some point who try to specialize and get back into a specializing appraiser. So I think it's a fact that's here. What I would like is if it's possible for our Linda or Scott or someone on those states that you mentioned that have language in their regulations or in their statutes already that are allowing them just to accept this as it is it possible for us to get that language so we can consider that language as we evolve through this process of trying to figure out how to word our regulations around it?
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to share that with all of you. And I guess probably mechanically the best way to do that is to send it to Linda and then let her.
Yeah, that would be great.
Forward it out to you all. I tried to drop it in the chat, but it's on my computer locally and not in the cloud, so I can't do that. But I'm more than happy to share that with Linda and let her share with you all as well. And there are some states that have been very simplistic about their regulations, and then there are others that have gone into a little bit more detail. I'm not sure which is better. That's certainly something that you all will have to determine, but I'm more than happy to share that information.
Because if you got 1,000, if you're projecting 1,000 and you got one other program out there, I mean, that in reality, take that by 50, that's about 20 of these students that are going to be showing up on our doors in the next few years, at least. I am concerned about one comment that you made, and that was you said a couple of the AMCs are taking this on. And of course, as long as it's AQB, but then the question, the other issue here is experience, and that's what we're focusing on. If someone goes through the program, we accept their credits, and then all of a sudden they go out and they go to work for a bank as a review appraiser, and that's it. We got no control over that if we're going to be monitoring their work after the fact. So if we do go in that direction, I'm throwing this out to the commission. If we do go in the direction that we come up with language that allows us to monitor that, we have to be flexible in the fact that some people aren't going to get jobs right away. Some people may go back and do something else and then come back to us. There has to be a way for us to have some flexibility in being able to review that work and still give them the time necessary to, let their professions, evolve, etc. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
John, I think, and I think all of us are on a lot of the same path, and I would like to make the following suggestion. If Scott could forward to Linda, and then it goes that the render that will be sent to all of us, this information, and anybody on this call from the general public, if you would like a copy of what Scott will be forwarding to on other states and so forth, you have taken the time to visit us this morning virtually, you're more than welcome to, see what we're taking into consideration. So it's up to you to request that. So we're not hiding anything, being transparent. I would like to do the following. I would like to see that information. I will personally take a stab of trying to craft something together, okay, for the commission. I've been making a lot of notes here, okay, and then send it out to the commission members for consideration. We've spent over an hour on this already here this morning, well invested an hour, because this is a changing component. Linda Sepso, you rang the bell on this, a year or so ago, it was coming and so forth. And I would like us then to take a look at, and it's either I respect and understand the reg process and the timing and so forth. Linda Robitaille, I get it. I hear what you're saying loud and clear. But I think to be the prudent and the right thing to do for the general public, for the appraiser, for the industry and so forth, I'd like to have us, we voted up or down, whatever we're going to do in the September meeting. We don't have a meeting in August. I don't think I think I can see us spending easily another hour and change on this subject matter. But at least I think if I put something together, at least there'll be something in black and white. It can be torn apart. It can be say, oh, that's nice, this stinks, or what have you. at least it will keep us moving forward so we can, get it taken care of. I'm a little surprised, to be candid, of 60% of the country has adopted this, but up in our region, it sounds like hardly anyone has yet on the same boat we are. But I would rather, instead of kicking the can down the door or the road, excuse me, kicking in the door, I guess, we address it that way. Does that sound like an acceptable plan to other members of the commission?
Yes.
Yes, and if you want to run that by us, Jerry, beforehand.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we-
you're gonna see it behead, I hope
So
in
by-
mid-August, I have
Yeah.
something a month ahead for you to kick around,
Okay.
Shauna and Norris, does that work for you folks?
And Jerry,
It's fine.
if
Okay.
you can, if you maybe pick at the, one set, if we decide we're gonna go a percentage, which I don't think is the right way to do it. The second way is it to give us some flexibility after the fact.
Yeah, I've taken a lot of notes here, John, you guys
Yeah.
can watch, I on camera and you get to see the bad side of me. I don't know if I have a good side, but and just, keep writing down notes of different people's positions here. And I'm not saying, I'm at least it's a working draft for us to consider. So taking the envelope, what everyone has, inputted here, thoughts, and anyone on the general public here as well. Again, I reach out. This is potentially a seismic shift in our industry for down the road. It really is. It's not it's here and gone. This could take root and going down, because let's call it what it is. We have watched a number of provisionals in our state go from 200 and whatever it was at the high point, trainees, to now we're what, 48 or 49 or 50. Let's just call it, for round numbers, 50. We're 25% of where we were at the high point. Okay, for round numbers. And the industry as a whole, coast to coast, that we're looking at something to address. And many of us, I'm in that category too, hate to say the average age of the, appraiser, last I saw, I'm above that average age, and that age is, there's many of us who are going to be, saying it's been a good life and what have you, but now it's the next chapter of our respective lives. What do we have coming behind us here? So that's why, that's the reality of the situation. At least there's someone's trying to, and now it's Paria as a plan of attack. Agree with it or disagree with it, buy some of it, whatever, but at least let's move it forward. And whatever you feel, so my internal goal will be mid-August, since it's mid-July right now, to have a working draft to members of the commission. You can take a red pen, blue pen, ink, whatever you want, tear it up. How about this or that? And I am, so now I'm asking a question. Vicky's not here, so I'm gonna, but at least if anyone has the answer within the state of Connecticut on the admin side, are we allowed by statute to then have comments going back and forth with emails that John may have a comment, a group thing, Linda may have, Shauna, Norris. So we're not trying to hide anything. We're trying to work on a product. So when we come in the September meeting, because we don't have one in August, we've already had thoughts and ideas going back and forth. Are we, when I say are we okay to do that with not being any violation of any state statute, process, or procedure? Linda, do you know?
I don't, I think if everything goes through Verinda, it will be okay.
Can you ask Vicky when she's available? I know she's off today, and so forth. And I will wait from guidance from the Connecticut staff. So no member, we don't want to be, in violation of anything, but if we have questions, if we keep, Verinda will keep busy, going through this. I don't want it to there just sit and wait till September. You have an idea, John, Shauna, Linda, Norris may have come up with an idea because they saw something or heard from someone else, and you like an idea, you don't like the idea, you modify the idea, all good. But I'm just trying to give us a framework to keep that discussion going. Okay.
All right, I will check with
Commissioner-
Vicky.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner, if I could just be included, if I can make a recommendation just to be included in that loop 2 CC as well, so
Yeah,
that,
everything,
I'm involved with that,
yeah, everything
that
was-
process.
will go through you, Veranda, okay? Because therefore I know that, therefore we're staying within the statutes and, common good and all the things that go with that. So
Yes.
you are the junction box of keeping, the communication. Yes, it's one extra step. John doesn't email me directly. It goes to you and then you disseminate to everybody. So everyone
Yes.
gets to see those thoughts. And I know that's open to I believe the open general public if they ever want to see that. All good and well and good. So, okay.
Thank you.
That worked for everybody on the commission. That's a game plan you can accept?
That works for me. I just want to say that, if you're still struggling with this one thing, back in 2009, 2010, a lot of universities were struggling with online education. There were universities and professors were screaming about it. They were against it. They thought it was going to melt down the education process. And I think we're in the same boat here as us. There's this fear that we're going to be melting down the appraiser a little bit more, and that's not true. I mean, online education now, every university is doing it. It's a fact in the schools and everything, and it works. So I think this is something that I think we have to have a little faith in this career program, that it's going to evolve, and it may have some bumps, but it's here, and I think it's going to work, and I think it's going to be definitely better for our industry. Thanks.
All right. Thank you all. We've spent, well over an hour on this topic, and I don't want to say spent, we've invested, the time in here. I want to thank you. And Scott, a big thank you for your knowledge, your comments and input for discussion. I really want to thank you for that and say thanks. Okay. That being said, we have new business. Poor Lisa has been waiting patiently, maybe been bored to death of listening to us going through the minutia of how things get done. What was it Ben Franklin said? I think you don't want to see how the sausage is made, but you like to, what comes out at the end. So here we are. Lisa, and I don't want to mispronounce your name here, your last name. You are an RCR applicant, log approval and sample selection. Are you with us this morning? I see her there. Can we upgrade so Lisa can talk to the commission? Good morning, Lisa.
Yes, she has been upgraded.
Okay. Lisa, can you hear us?
She's muted again. There she goes.
Lisa,
Hi, good morning.
good morning. We got the technology working. Welcome. For the record, please, could you give your first and last name and your place of employment?
Sure. It's Lisa Gatos at Castle Appraisal Services.
Where's Castle Appraisal's, the business address? Excuse me, my error.
It's 342 West River Road in Orange.
Very good. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to go through things. I just want to ask, is your sponsor with you this morning?
Yes, he is.
Okay, for the record, who is your sponsor? And if we could open up his or her microphone as well.
I'm Russell Gatos.
Okay, good morning, sir. Same business address?
Yes.
Okay, very good. That's just for the record that we're going through this. Thank you. Okay, this morning, we were sent an email here with your log. It is residential. Am I correct on that, Lisa? You're predominantly residential and you're looking for a residential certification. Am I correct? That's what you're working toward.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And we have your log here. Linda, Linda Sepso, have you had time to go through and select samples to be reviewed from the log?
I don't believe I got the log. I don't remember seeing it come through, but I have been having a lot of trouble getting anything.
Okay, that was sent this morning at 8:05.
Oh, no, then I did not look at it. No.
Okay,
So
all right
I'm
then.
gonna pick a few of them and let her
If
know.
we could, can you pull that up now, or do you want me to, and other commissioners? Shauna, have you looked at the log? Okay, yeah, I got the gist of it. I know you're traveling, I can hear. I see the certification of completion of classes. Lisa, you took them all from McKissick, is that correct? Am I seeing that correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what time frame did you get all these done? So I'm seeing some classes in February of this year. In fact,
I-
a number of them. Go
Right.
ahead.
I believe I started in December of 2020.
Okay,
And then, but I think that most of them I took within the past, like 2022.
okay. So from your application, I see that you've done 232 appraisals in the last year and a half, if I'm reading that correctly, for a total of just a hair under 1,800 hours. Am I reading that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. Has any of the other members of the commission seen this log? I know Sean is traveling and Linda does not have or unable to gain access as we
I'm
speak.
looking to see if I can find it, Jerry, but
I'm happy to share it, Commissioner Rasmussen, if that's appropriate.
Yes,
To share
please,
my
if you
screen?
could. Yes,
Yeah.
if you could. And
Yep.
then we will pick out whatever the commission picks, there'll be 5 samples, Lisa. And then I will also then suggest to you, if you have 1 or 2 favorite reports that you have done that you believe are you're very proud of those appraisal reports, I would like you to add those to it. So we will pick 5 and I want you to pick 2, of whatever. It was the weirdest assignment you ever had. Or you
All
really
right.
thought that was the best assignment I ever did.
Right.
We would like to see, that from there. Okay,
Jerry, this is John.
yes? Yes, go ahead, John. John, I can't hear you.
muted, John.
Oh, sorry about that. In this particular log, right now, we're trying to accept the log itself. I don't see any progress in, in other words, on 1-4, if you go back to your first one, you're saying the same thing, that every single thing you did for the beginning appraisals was the same as what you did for the end appraisals. Yet on the first appraisal at 399 Washington Avenue, West Haven, as a multi, you worked 3 hours on. And then after that, it's pretty much almost 8 hours to get an assignment done.
I think that in the beginning I was, between like 8 and maybe like up to like 10 or even maybe like 12 on a few hours to get like maybe multifamilies done. But I work closely with my supervisor. So I mean, he's available for questions. So usually between, getting out to an assignment or like getting out to an inspection and sitting down and getting the report done, it still takes me, about 7 hours or so to get something done and to get it like, to review it with my supervisor and look over it.
Right, so are you working full time?
Yes.
Okay.
Linda Robitaille, did you go through the application passes mustard?
I did, yes.
Okay. All right.
Brenda, if you could just scroll down to the log, it's
Yes,
the
I
list.
saw that.
Yeah,
I saw the
list of
log.
Yeah,
Yeah. Unfortunately, the orientation on the scan is
oh, and you
cannot
can't
be,
flip it.
it cannot be flipped because of
Okay.
how it was scanned. So
I have
You can turn
unfortunately.
it counterclockwise if you like.
I would like to make a one, I'll just throw out a couple here for samples for us to review. And that will be the one on August 6th of 2021, a condominium at 21 Tanglewood Circle in Monroe, Connecticut.
Mhm.
I'm looking for one of your latter ones for a multi that you had in here. I saw one there.
Yeah, there was
similar
one
to-
towards the very end.
Come back this way. Yeah. So the only thing that's on this log is ending on, is in 2021. Let's go further. Okay, here's some more.
I see one on August 25th of 2021 at 24 Bull Avenue in Wallingford. That's a multifamily.
Okay.
Gary, can we see
Members of
the,
commission, feel free to jump in.
can we see the multifamily at 511 Central Avenue, New Haven, done on May 2022? And then I'd like to see, obviously, we like to see one that has a cost approach. Is there one in there that you did that has a cost approach in it?
Let me see.
Because the orientation commissioner is off, it's really difficult in the sharing for people to really get a gist. So if you have the, it's my suggestion, if you have this article, this document that was sent, that you kind of scan through it and call out those dates for the specific events you want to review.
Lisa, I know that Commissioner Galvin had given you a couple other addresses there.
Yeah.
But I noticed that we only go up to 9/23/21. Have you been working since September to this July?
No, Jerry, she actually has till 22. I have, the one I'm looking at
Oh,
goes up
excuse me,
to,
I'm wrong.
Mar-
I'm looking.
yeah.
Yep. you're
mine
right.
goes up to March of 22. So the
Okay.
one in New Haven that we picked was of March of 22. So if you even, Lisa, if you even have one that's you completed with a cost approach since you submitted this log, we just want to, I personally want to see something with a cost approach in it, please.
Yeah, any of the multifamily ones would have a cost approach.
All right, so the one we picked of New Haven has a cost approach in it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, Jerry, I would also like to see a cost approach on a regular residential property because the cost approach in there is handled a little bit differently. And
Okay.
people don't do it, so
Lisa, do you have one of those that will fit that criteria?
Yeah, they all would.
Okay, then, if that's the case, then let's take a look at the property at 135 Shawmut Avenue in North Haven, which was done on May 13th of 2022.
Okay.
Is anyone how many of those samples are we up to now? 5?
There's 4.
Four.
Two are multis.
Do we have a
And one
comment?
condo.
And
We
one
had-
condo and one residential. So I would suggest another residential, single
Yeah.
family.
I agree. Is there anything of members of the commission you would like to see on the single family? If not, then to move things, there's June 10th of 2022, 34 Pack Street in Stratford, Connecticut.
How do you spell Pack? I live in Stratford. There's a Pack Street.
Well, I'm looking at PACK or PECK. It was whatever was,
Oh, Pack, okay, Pack, okay, I'll find it.
okay, on June the 10th of 2022, that one was done.
Okay.
So there's 5 there plus your choice of 2 additional ones. If you could then forward them to Linda, correct? Linda Robitaille, they go to you and then they get disseminated through Brenda.
Right. I
Sure.
will send you, Lisa, I will send you an email.
Great. Yeah, wonderful. Because I think I got 4 of them, but I believe I missed one.
Yeah, I will give you a list and as to when I will need them back by.
Okay,
And then you and your sponsor will both need to attend the September meeting, which is September 14th.
Okay,
all right, that sounds good.
very good.
Okay.
And the one other thing, Lisa,
Mhm.
did you forward your college transcript information
I did, yeah, I requested them to send it directly to you guys.
to me? Okay. I haven't been in the office this week, so.
Yeah, no
Fine.
worries. I haven't gotten a confirmation text or anything that it was sent, but I don't know if they were going to do that. So if you appear to be missing that, I'll definitely reach out to my college again. And
Okay, which college was it?
I sent my undergrad from Keene State.
Okay, just so when I see it in the envelope, I'll know it's yours.
Okay, wonderful.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much and have a enjoyable summer.
Great, thank you too.
Thank you. Okay, legal, obviously Vicky's not here and there was nothing, as Linda, you said that she. needed
Yeah,
to
she
be
didn't
done.
leave anything for me, so.
Are there any other comments or concerns by anyone from the general public and or the commission or staff that needs to be presented to the commission today? Hearing none, then I'm just going to say as a reminder to the commission members that we are having a special meeting on August the 5th, at 8:30 in the morning, from 8:30 to 10, to address the Connecticut law module and any other urgent or unique matter that must be addressed that cannot wait for the September regular scheduled meeting. Okay. Hearing nothing else to come before the commission today, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
This is Norris. I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have Norris with the motion, and Linda, will you be the second?
Mhm.
The second, the ayes?
Aye.
All right, thank you for everyone's participation today. It is the 13th, the 13th of July. That's unfortunately telling me that half our summer is done.
Right.
So I want everyone to enjoy the glowing warmth of the summer up here, because we all know the snow will fly before we know it. So
Jer, I just need to give you a heads up. I can attend the August meeting gladly. The September meeting, we may not be back from Europe yet, so you guys might be without me for that. We're leaving September 2nd and we're gone for a couple of weeks.
don't get caught with COVID over there.
I know. No, we're going on the Viking tour, so
I had a cousin who was on the Viking tour and
got COVID.
yep, and they escorted